This is Chris Morrow, Comic-Con at Home. I'm remotely connected from the Tin Fish in San Diego, and the panel is Professional Storytelling, RPGs in 2020. Hello.
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 Please introduce yourself and tell us where your home is.
I'm Ross Thompson. I was the moderator for the panel, and I am here in San Diego. That's where my home is.
Hi, I'm Malika Lim Eubank. I'm the CEO at HyperRPG. This is our studio in Los Angeles.
B. Dave Walters. I am a writer and content creator. I say words about things, and I am in Burbank, California.
This is Ivan Van Norman, a publisher and game host extraordinaire, I guess, coming to you from the very noisy valley here in Van Nuys, California.
Hi, I'm Ash Minnick. I'm an event producer and a producer of D&D in a Castle, and I am here in Sherman Oaks, California.
Okay, welcome. Please tell me about the panel. How did it go?
Oh, the panel went really well. It was really kind of cool to hear about everyone's different perspectives on how 2020 is going in regards to storytelling RPGs. Everyone shared about what they're working on, what the future is going to be like for gaming, and how things are going to go going forward, and a lot of the cool stuff they're working on right now.
I would love to hear what everyone is working on.
Well, we have a bunch of stuff. The good news is, and I think we talked about this on the panel a little bit, is that while 2020 has been doing a lot to, make the world very difficult for people to get back to work, most of us have been going at it, have been nonstop since everything occurred. So I know that personally, we released 2 games this year. One is just going straight into publication right now. Alice is Missing. And then we also did the licensed role-playing game for Altered Carbon, which is a Netflix series, which Malika also hosted a whole live play right before everything fell down as well, too. So that was fun. And we have our Twitch channel coming up for my company, Hunters Entertainment, which B. Dave Walters is going to be GMing, and Ash will be GMing extensively in it. So.
Yeah, and Malika will be playing.
Yes, I will be. I'm so excited.
We all like each other a lot.
Yes, we do. Yeah. We do work with each other outside of our SDCC panel.
Yeah.
For me, I've been broadcasting on my Twitch channel, twitch.tv/hyperrpg from camp social distance, aka my studio. But fun fact, I live in the floor above here.
It's like pretty easy to literally roll down with a breakfast burrito.
And then I go to work.
It's, I think all of us have this short commute to the couch now. It's just your couch is on the set. Like you've perfected it, Malika.
Yes. It looks like a set, but really it's a modified garage.
I'm sorry. I'm having trouble hearing about it. I didn't mean to interrupt. Go ahead, Malika.
No, I was just going to say, this is a modified garage, and everything in movies is fake. You see this? This fake foliage, fake print, fake wood, movie magic.
Ooh, what's that behind the green screen? It's nothing. Except for my living room, so.
Yeah, actually, I'm at my house. This is not the Tin Fish.
No, you're getting actual vitamin D today. That's an amazing event for most of us nerds. So
That's a very rare occurrence.
What are you working on, Ash?
Well, the live events obviously have dried up quite a bit. In fact, pre-COVID, I feel like I was working on live events with all of y'all, which aren't happening now. So been doing a lot more streaming. I produce an event where folks get to go play Dungeons and Dragons in a castle in England. Our 2020 event obviously has been delayed, and so we're now working on the 2021 event, but we're also launching a digital version where we can connect players to professional DMs and GMs online. So that's fun. That's going to be launching next month. And yeah, working, streaming games with Ivan. And yeah, just a lot of work from home. But now I have an office, which I didn't have before, which is great. Our panel, I was in my dining room.
That's great. And B. Dave?
Yeah, I realize I added it up. I've worked literally every single day since May 31st. This weekend we're streaming an entire season of content we're filming right now that's going to air over the next couple of months. I crowdfunded for a graphic novel, Electropunk, that went through. I'm crowdfunding for a documentary right now. Like, I've just been busier than ever, just pumping out content. It's a good time to be in our line of work, because we can provide a necessary service. I think everybody's kind of home, looking for something to do, going a little stir crazy, and we all just open our own little windows into somewhere else for you to come and hang out for a little while.
So I'm getting the feeling that creativity is flowing for you all right now during the pandemic.
Well, yeah, dynamic content, right? Like people were hungry for dynamic content even before this all happened, and that hasn't gone away. In fact, I think one of the things we talked about during the panel is that there is so much, there was so much board games and so many role-playing games out there that we were starting to see like a real just surge, and it was starting to get to be like a lot. And if this pandemic has shown us anything, it's that that need hasn't gone away. In fact, we've all kind of had to, there's delicious food on the table, and we've all had to kind of close our mouths for a little bit and wait, because we'll get even tastier food if we all wait very patiently. But it hasn't gone away. There's no desire to not eat the food. It is there. So.
Speaking of creativity flowing, my company decided to buy an RV and outfit it for live streaming, since we are like the live streaming company, and we're planning to do a cross-country road trip, trying to be socially distant, but also like leave our studio since we live where we work.
Yeah.
When's that going to start?
I think late September, we're going to be live streaming from this RV, really focusing on human interest stories. We think there are incredible stories of people coming together, small businesses being smart, reinventing themselves, and we want to just explore and highlight that on our channel.
Yeah, I think we're also finding you can only watch your favorite show so many times. Like that third or fourth watch through of Avatar: The Last Airbender, while magnificent, starts to linger on the palate when you not only can say all the words along with it, but you can do it in some of the alternate language tracks. And I think that's why people are flocking to our kind of content, because it's new. You've never seen it before. And it's like you're hanging out with old friends. So you're scratching that itch of human contact and entertainment, which I think is why you're seeing this kind of renaissance that we're experiencing.
Yeah, and also, I mean, with role-playing games especially, everyone loves games and board games and whatnot, but it's very difficult to play board games digitally with people unless there is a digital version online. But with role-playing games, you don't have that limitation, because so much of it is sort of theater of the mind and just describing and playing this role and actual interaction. So it already sort of had a renaissance. There was already this big push into role-playing where it had gotten more and more popular, and now it's sort of the only game in town in a lot of ways because it's,
and there's tons of resources, roll20.com, like Tabletoptopia, Tabletop Simulator. There's all these places where people can go to right now in order to connect to them. Just have to use like a Zoom chat, and Google Hangouts free. Like there's just so many ways to be able to connect nowadays. I guess you just have to go find it. It's just there waiting for you.
Yeah, that's one of the big things where it's really, along with being able to have all these different channels where people can watch people play games, there's so many games that are out there along with D&D, there's so many independent RPG companies that are making new stuff and telling new stories, and being able to, watch that and see all the cool things doing too, people can go and play those games. And as Ivan said, there's so many resources to learn how to design, learn how to get your games up on their DM's Guild, Drive-Thru RPG. There's all these different games that are available too for publishers and independent creators.
Do you think that the Comic-Con at home actually is good for this type of genre of panel, because it's bringing in the new people that have never even heard of it and getting them hooked?
I heard feedback about our panels from people that have never gone to Comic-Con, and they were saying how cool it was to watch these things. They got to watch all the big Hall H panels, and then at the same time, just boot ours up on YouTube and check it out what was going on. So much cool feedback. Oh my gosh, I get to see all these different things. Comic-Con, they really embrace this with the at home, and I hope going forward, there's a nice duality of things that are in person, plus it being virtual.
Yeah, Comic-Con's a whole thing. There's the cost of getting there, which is not insignificant, especially if you're not in local to Southern California. It's overwhelming. It's a lot of people. I myself, I'm the supreme extrovert, so I just draw power from that. Those moments when you look out and there's just people as far as you can see, that is when I am at my strongest. But I realize not everybody feels like that, and this has helped smooth that out. where it's like you don't have to fight to get in line for Hall H. You don't have to struggle to run from one end of the building to the other. You can just seamlessly, easily consume exactly what you want to consume, which I think is great.
Yeah, and after every Comic-Con, you always have the YouTube videos of, you know, someone on the phone recording things, and I love the idea of it being done like that on purpose from the beginning, where it's made to sort of stream out rather than just you're watching half of it on like a phone recording. It's great.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I'm sad about the circumstances, but I am such a big advocate for accessibility. And I'm so excited that, you know, people who don't have the means to travel, and then there's also a wait list. The tickets sell out. So even if you have the money, the power, the car, the hotel room to get to Comic-Con, sometimes you still can't get to Comic-Con. And I'm so glad to see this. I think we just were tweeted out by a fan who I know lives in Canada, was so glad to kind of see us at this Comic-Con panel and like have this experience because she's never been able to experience it before.
That's cool. Well, let's talk about the future of gaming. I'm assuming it's online.
It's very tech laden. That's the truth of it. I mean, it's so funny because when I'm reading a book right now, The Monopolist by Mary Pylon, and it was talking about like in the 20s and the 30s, we had a board game renaissance that was there as well too. That's when Monopoly and Parker Brothers and other company that I'm forgetting right now, but they grew into their own into that moment. And then the computer came along, right? And after the invention of the computer, we started getting into digital gaming pretty aggressively. And now we're kind of coming back into a weird little hybrid where a lot of our tabletop analog content, which is very immersive and very experiential, is now starting to be laden with technology. Like I said, there are whole VR rooms where you can play VR board games. You know, you could literally put on an Oculus Quest, hop in, and with a handset, pick up a card and hold it in front of your hands and then play cards. You know, that stuff, it's not the future, it is now. Right. Yeah. And there, as soon as I think a lot of board game developers start realizing that this is something they can do, and or video game companies start realizing, holy crap, we can do this and it's way cheaper than doing a AAA video game title, then I think we're going to see a lot of that. It's my opinion, though. I'm one person with an opinion.
No, I agree with that as well. I think entertainment in general was already moving very heavily into the interactive space because people didn't want to just watch stories. They wanted to affect them and be in them and feel them. In fact, years ago when I was working on Indiecade, Malika did an interactive sort of adventure big game that she had designed with another person for us. And it's been such a big thing. And now that we're all isolated, there's still ways with the technology, like Ivan, you mentioned with the Quest, to get that interactivity and to get that ability to affect the story. And with Twitch, with the chat adding in things and being able to connect with people all over the world, you can find that in different ways. And I think the future of gaming, I'm sorry, there's a loud helicopter. I don't know if you can hear it. The future of gaming is finding more and more ways of being able to connect through the technology and giving people that interactive experience, even though they're at home.
I think one of the things too, okay, Dave.
Oh, sorry. I was just going to say that, but I don't want to interrupt the expert there because you work in board game stuff. But I think one of the things that has kind of come out of this too is this concept that you can have a real meaningful connection via Zoom is not going to go away. And I think to Ash's point about the fact that the renaissance with this has been happening for a while, I think a big part of that is the stigma was removed from some of these subcultures, that you didn't have to be embarrassed that you played Dungeons and Dragons. You don't have to be embarrassed that you really like Magic cards. And now the stigma of being a board game geek is gone, or at least rapidly falling away. And that wedded with the technology and the accessibility and the fact that, yeah, I can play with my sister who's in DC and log in my mom who's in Arkansas. People aren't going to forget that even when we regain the ability to go back outside again.
And that's super true. And I think one of the big things that we all kind of touched on is everybody's a gamer. They just don't know it yet. You know, and there's so many games that are out there, and there's a game for you, whether it's a role-playing game, whether it's a board game, a card game, a digital game, an app game. How many games do you play on our phone, right? So
many.
Pokemon Go, remember that wonderful month when it first came out, right?
The summer of Pokemon Go.
Yeah.
My mom's still playing Pokemon Go. Yeah, that's how she gets her steps in. She actually called me and she says, Malika, what is this Pokemon Go? I want to play it. But I just wanted to comment on the production side. Being adjacent to all these like industries and entertainment, film production and TV production has slowed down a lot because we have to keep crews away from each other. There's all those new production guidelines. However, animation, game design, tabletop, and video games has not slowed down. So I'm very excited to, work with more voice actors and see their performances translated in something like video games or tabletop games. So it's very, very fascinating.
We have a whole lineup next week because Gen Con Digital is next week, and we have a whole lineup of very talented voice actors who are all going to be participating in our panels to showcase our games at Hunters Entertainment on the brand new Twitch channel, which taking a wonderful nod from what HyperRPG has been doing is trying to find ways that are very interactive and very fun. We're thinking about something for one of our tentpole games, Outbreak Undead, where people can actually help manage the resources of their zombie apocalypse stronghold by participating. They don't have to necessarily play, but they can interact and assist and aid in the players by just boop, 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 boop. Because why not? Because you're doing on freemium apps all the time anyway. So,
The future sounds truly exciting. It does. I'm Chris Morrow. I'm at Comic-Con at home. I'm remotely connected from the Tin Fish. Thank you all so much. Thank you.
All right,
I love you all. I got to roll because we're filming.
Oh, affirmative.
San Diego